everybody knows that the Pelicans more than likely will start Herb Jones or Trey Murphy. But what happens if they start them both? Let's talk about it.
You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
Welcome to another episode of In Space. I am your host, Chris Connor. Shout out to our good people at Jägermeister, all of our sponsors here, DraftKings Sportsbook, Birdsall Law Firm, Justin and Lala, or as I call them, Jaja, for helping run this ship, get out all of this content, man, that we got cooking. That, it's coming out on the daily, and us just having a platform to be able to come out here and have a decent conversation, and you know what I'm saying, see what people think. So, y'all seen the questions, y'all seen the conversation already, about Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. It, as always, you got fans of Herb Jones starting, you got fans of Trey Murphy starting, and people that believing for different reasons why the other person hurts the starting lineup when healthy. That's penciled, with Jonas Valanciunas, of course, being your center. But I'm gonna get into a lineup that was only played 11 minutes last year. It was talked about last offseason as a death lineup of sorts. And I said it in the Propels Talk show yesterday that we did about it being maybe your life lineup. It won't happen. I don't think there's a way in hell that it will happen. But I'm curious what you guys think about what a lineup consisting of CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Herb Jones, and Trey Murphy would look like. Then at that point, you ain't got to worry about benching one. Start them both. But before we get into that, I know you got another question.
Why Chris got on glasses? That's not normal, dog.
If you're watching on YouTube, that was probably your question. Y'all ain't been taking me serious. Was some of y'all, like, without glasses, when we been having this subject? I was told today I didn't know basketball. Somebody thought that I suggested for Dyson Daniels to be the center. Like, damn. So I put on glasses because y'all gonna take me serious for this moment. Some of y'all, that is. I also did it to Mock Lito. That's pretty much it. Go check out his brother Lito's last show. He interviewed somebody. It was terrible. But so CJ, BI, Zion, Herb, Trey, they played 11 minutes last year. They appeared in 3 games. There's really nothing much to draw from that. But here's what I'm thinking. And I'll be honest with you. And I know this ain't 2K, but I'll be honest with you. I would try it out. I really would. And here's why. The Pelicans have been struggling to figure out the center position for 4 years now. They were struggling to figure out the center position when Anthony Davis was back in New Orleans. Pretty much ever since DeMarcus Cousins tore his Achilles, the Pelicans have been trying to figure out the center position. You've seen so many different faces, so many options, so many different prospects, projects, journeymen, and they haven't been able to figure it out. And look, I don't know what James Borrego's offense is going to look like, but I do know that with all of the offensive talent that's going to be on the floor, if the Pelicans are healthy, Jonas isn't going to be high in the pecking order in regards to offensive touches. He won't be 3, depending on who, if Trey or Herb starts, he won't be 4. I believe that. So, and we watched the team struggle to consistently keep Jonas involved when he was on the floor offensively. So if you have that situation and you have Larry Nance, who the Pelicans depended on a lot last season, and I think contributed to him breaking down and getting hurt, playing so many of those minutes, while Jonas played 15, well, not 15, but Jonas played 20, to 25 minutes some night, if lucky. because teams would consistently get him in drop coverage and pick and rolls, take advantage of his athletic weaknesses that isn't, it's not his fault necessarily. And the Pelicans, coaching staff, rotation, whatever the case may be, some frustration or some impatience would come forward, and you would see someone else out there. And we saw it with Jackson Hayes. We saw that experiment. We saw Zion at the 5 when Zion was healthy. We saw Herb Jones play some minutes at the 5. We saw a lot of different other players be involved just because of how teams were attacking the Pelicans to have certain weaknesses on defense, even with Herb Jones out there. Now, take these off. I already stated who I think should start, and it's no slight to Herb Jones, but I really would find it interesting if you got an opportunity to see Herb and Trey play together. Everybody's asking, like, yo, who's going to play center? Who's going to play center? Look, does that mean Zion's at the center, which hasn't consistently been successful, even though I think in limited minutes last season it worked out for them and they closed a few games with it. I know the questions about what happens to Larry Nance, and, he was closing a lot of games for them, but I think you have to make it a priority to keep him fresh. And while the Herb at the 5 minutes weren't spectacular, outside of, I think, game 1 and maybe game 2, you really didn't get a large sample size of it to really see how it worked. Now, I think that when we talk about, the other conversation or the other counterpoint I saw was, well, what happens when you play Jokic? What happens when you play Jokic when Jonas or when any player is out there? It doesn't matter who's out there. The Lakers have Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis didn't even guard Jokic, and when he did, it didn't matter. They had Rui. We were leaving game 1 of their playoff series with the Lakers. We were leaving game 1. And people were saying, okay, Rui might be the answer. No, there's no answer for guys like that. There's no one answer for Joel Embiid. It's just not. Like, those guys are going to be special. Some nights there's not going to be an answer for Karl Anthony Towns. Like, these talented big men, it is what it is. So if you already know that and you don't have an answer, even with a traditional big out there, and I'm not saying that you run that you're running this lineup consistently, but I would be interested in seeing it to start the game, because you get to keep the perimeter defender, one of the best perimeter defenders in the game, in Herb Jones for what everyone would like to do. For those that think he needs to start, and you get to keep the spacing and those options in combination with some of your off-ball options. If either Brandon or Zion has the basketball, have CJ McCollum off-ball. So you get that flexibility. You can run 5 out whenever you want to, respectively. You have 5 players on the floor that, with the basketball in their hands from the perimeter, have the ability to cause some kind of threat, whether it's from shooting or whether it's with taking you off the dribble. I'm interested in it. And defensively, while the other question was rebounding. Yeah, Jonas finished a lot of games with 12, 13 rebounds. Like, I understand how good of a rebounder he is. But picture this. The Pelicans already needed certain guys to get better rebounding. They already needed Brandon Ingram, who I think took a little bit of a step forward in a lot of respects. And he, if the pictures from Puerto Rico, he seems to be in really good shape, put on some added muscle, which will help him in that department again upcoming. We know Zion has the ability. He hasn't consistently dominated on the glass like you would like, but we know that the ability is there. We watched Trey Murphy in some spurts be able to rebound, but more times than not, last season, there was more you wish you got out of him from that perspective. You wanted him to be a better rebounder, especially at his size. He's another guy that's gotten stronger. I want to see how that affects him and being able to get the boards. And I know personally that people in that coaching staff have made that an emphasis, and he knows that that's an emphasis and going to be important for him this season, rebounding, sort of kind of like I think the flashes that we saw in some games last season, but year one, the end of that season, where he was doing, I think, a really good job in rebounding. It looked like I don't think we expected the drop off that you saw in year two. He just needs to get better there, and some of that could simply be strength. But those guys already need to be rebounded. CJ, for his size, I think is a solid rebounder. So when you think about it with Jonas, when you have a traditional big that isn't rangy, isn't athletic, getting caught in drop coverage consistently doesn't always put him in the best spots, the best situations to grab rebounds consistently at his, with him not being the most athletic, the most agile guy. You have to gang rebound, but you needed to improve on that anyway. I wouldn't mind seeing this lineup. Defensively, no, you don't have a quote unquote rim protector. But again, you didn't have that against good teams that took advantage of matchups anyway when Jonas would be out there. And it's not his fault. This isn't to blame Jonas by any means. But your pick and roll defense will be a lot better. Your ability to switch everything would be a lot better. You'd have, outside of CJ McCollum, everybody on the floor would at least be 6'7", 6'8". A lot of wingspan out there. You'd be able to you'd be a lot more athletic. And if you can find a way to box out and rebound more than not, there's some matchups you are going to lose. I understand that. And it doesn't mean you have to run that starting lineup heavily. You don't have to. But I think it might allow you to throw something different at teams. And it could allow you to get off to fast starts, which this team sometimes struggled with even when Zion was playing and this team was healthy. How many games did we see with that starting lineup when Brandon was out, but during that run where the Pelicans played their best stretch of basketball? How many games did we see them get off to slow starts and or inconsistent starts, and Jose Alvarado come in and kind of take the team into a second gear? Like, it's no, either way, you have things you have to get better at. I know they won't do it, but I'm interested in seeing it, and I'm interested in seeing what some of you guys think. Some of y'all are going to call me crazy and tell me I don't know basketball. That's okay. I'm fine with that. But I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. I think it can make you a lot better defensively. You can throw a lot of different types of coverages at teams, and offensively, you can really attack space in ways that sometimes you've struggled to do with Jonas. Or just a traditional center, period, on the floor. Brandon and Zion together, I think it's still a work in progress in a lot of ways. And why clunker that up if you don't have to with a traditional center? It's going to be interesting how it goes. I think it can work. I'm really curious to see specifically in the half court, the things that James Borrego offers this team, how he uses these guys and all their strengths. I don't think, the heavy element of ISO ball, whether it was when Brandon and Zion were healthy, throwing the ball down to post Zion and just watching him make a move and hoping he makes the right pass, the right play athletically, or letting CJ ISO or letting Brandon ISO, whether it be off screens or, a couple pin downs every now and then. If this team's in motion, it could all work with Jonas. But if we can avoid having to ask, should you start or should you start Herb or should you start Trey? Why not? Start them both. What do you guys think about it? I really want you guys to get in the comments and let me know. Am I tripping? Or is there anyone here that watches this video or listens to the show, if it makes it to the podcast requirements? If there's anybody that thinks that it actually could have legs and work for this team, I want to see this team get off the fast starts. I want to see them be able to utilize and magnify their stars. And to me, the best way you do that is giving them space offensively. If you feel like taking Herb Jones off the floor hurts them more than it helps, all right, well, I'm giving you an option. Now, the only way it changes, or the way we can possibly go back to the original question. If you had a legitimate, rangy, athletic, rim protecting center that you could play out there consistently, that it's not a foul magnet, then all right. And then a lob threat on the offensive side of the ball, that would be different. but the Pelicans, as constructed, don't currently have that. So I'm just thinking of ideas. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Appreciate y'all as always. Appreciate the love. And yeah, man, I holler at y'all next time. You was in space. You out. Najee.
In the building. I told you last time, get with us or get out of here, man.